Hi guys, this is Banjo, and today I'm going to be bringing to you another yellow-red deck profile for Fate. Since my friend let me borrow his deck's deck profile and he has like a crap ton of Fate decks, might as well deck profile them. So with that being said, onto the cards. The first card is the 0/0 Heroic Spirit Saber. Really good card. Its ability is when this card attacks, if you have another master or servant character, this card gains 1,500 power. So it's really good because as long as you have any other master, even itself, because it's technically a servant, so like you can have two of them out for its effect to work. So as long as you have two, basically, or another one, this card gains 1,500, so now it's a 4K beater. And at level 0, that's really good because you just beat down stuff with this. So you're like, oh, I'm at 4K, I'm gonna run into stuff, I'm OP. So yeah, so that's basically, it's your big, well not wall, it's your big attacker. It's your like beat stick thing at level 0, just to beat down your opponent's other level 0s that have lower attack. Next is 2 of the 0/0 yellow, not yellow, yellow my butt. It's red, Rin Servant Archer. Really good card. Its first ability is when another of your character becomes reversed in battle, choose one of your weapon characters and that character gains 500 power for the turn. That's really good because it works during both players' turn. So if you attack and your opponent drops a punch or something and now their character has more attack and you're reversed, you basically can give something 500. And then, vice versa. Like during your turn, if something you have dies, like you give something 500. So and that actually can save you sometimes. Like that 500 can like sometimes get you over something your opponent has and then like make them salty and stuff. But not only that, it has the Brainstorm ability, which is just pay 1, rest this card. Basically, you check the top 4 cards of your deck, and then send them to the waiting room. And then if there's any climaxes among them, you basically got to choose one weapon character in your waiting room and add it back to your hand. So it's a really good effect because there's no repercussion to it. There's no like, oh, you have to discard, or you have to do this, or oh, you have to do this other thing. So you just basically get free stuff off it when you trigger it. And obviously it's a brainstormer, so it helps you like mill cards from your deck when you want to refresh or do random stuff with the grave or the waiting room. Next, there's 4 of this level red 0/0 Proof of Contract Rin. Her first ability is basically she's a level 0 suicider or a level 0 double reverser, whatever you guys want to call it. But basically when it gets reversed, if whatever's facing it is a level 0, it also gets reversed. So it has that ability, but it also has the ability where you can rest this and choose one of your Archer characters and give that character 1,500 power and the following ability, which is basically as long as it fights something, whatever its level is and higher, it can attack. And if it's anything lower than its level, it cannot attack. But for the most part, you just use it just to like run into your opponent's level 0. It's your like level 0 removal thing. It maybe like once in a while it comes in handy, but for the most part it's just like, oh, you have a 0/2, oh, we're both gonna exchange and we're both gonna die or get reversed and stuff. Next, there's 2 of the 0/0 yellow Styles of Night Saber. Pretty good card. It has the ability, your other character in the middle position of the center slot gains the following ability, which is that character cannot be chosen by your opponent's card effects. So that's really good because you can have this card in the back, or you can just have it anywhere and be like, alright, so my card in the front is immune to my opponent's abilities, so haha, your opponent can't choose them for stuff. So it's pretty good. Her second ability is you can pay 1 and take a damage and rest this card. To search your deck for one Shiro or Saber character, reveal it to your opponent, and add it to your hand. So this card comes in handy mostly late game. Early game it's like whatever too. Since you want to level up fast and like you might want to pay like a 1 stock or something. But it comes in handy when in the beginning of the turn, if you don't want to like self-damage yourself to draw 2. Let's say for example you just need one specific card and you can either self-damage yourself and draw 2. Or you can either do this and just like self-damage yourself, but you get the specific like Shiro card or Saber card that you probably needed to, play out your combos. But that's why it's good because you have basically that option for Yeah, you know, to play it and search and stuff. Now we're going on to Fighting Together Shiro. Two of this 0/0 yellow card. Its ability is all your other master characters gain auto. Put the top card of your deck into your clock, and since he's a master, what was it? He doesn't get it because it says other. Just remember, guys, if it says other, because sometimes nobody reads the cards that well, and then they're like, "Oh man, he's OP," and then you're like, "Oh, it's other." Just remember, guys, double check and double read your cards. But that's pretty good because you're giving stuff the damage encore thing as long as they're masters, so you can have like field presence and stuff like that just by taking the damage if you really need to. He also has the ability where you can pay 2, and when this card is placed from your stage to your hand, so basically when you just play it down, you can pay the cost. If you do, you can search your deck for 1 Saber's Master Shiro, and then just basically put it in your hand, and you know, Saber's Master Shiro. So that's really good because you're potentially deck thinning and looking through your deck for cards that you need. It just sucks because you have to pay 2, but it works relatively just when you have enough stock to pay it, or if you just need that specific card in your hand, and that's why it's in here too. Next is that splash, because there's always that splash or tech or whatever of whatever random color in every deck. So this is it's a 0/0 blue Ilya. Pretty good effect. Its effect is you can discard one card from your hand into the waiting room, so you can discard climaxes or just any card you really don't need. And basically by paying this, you look at the top 4 cards of your deck, and then you choose a master character among them, add them to your hand, and then put the remainder in the waiting room. So this is pretty good because it kind of fixes your hand and kind of mills you out and stuff, or mills from your deck. So, especially if you have a lot of climaxes in your hand, you can be like, you know, I'm going to trade off this climax for basically a free card if I, you know, get in, or if I basically discard a master character. But it's not that bad because, like, sometimes you're kind of clogged and you need some way to get out of having all these bad cards in your hand. So just 2 of her. Next, we're going on to the level 1s. The first level 1 is 4 of this level 1 pay 1 yellow Fighting Together Saber. And she has resonance with this level 0 Saber. So how the resonance ability works is just, you know, you show this card in your hand whenever it states that you have to show it to your opponent, and then it gets an additional effect. So its resonance ability is basically just by showing that card in your hand at the beginning of your climax phase, you can give her 1 soul. So that's pretty good because you can basically kind of like rush at level 1 just by showing your opponent 1 card in your hand. Be like, oh look, now I gain a soul. Now I'm attacking for 2 soul. And then if you have a climax, you're attacking for 3 soul. And then you still have to check to see whatever you get. Not only that, but she also has a damage encore ability. So, you know, it helps out for field presence wise. Especially if your opponent like attacks you and you're basically like at the same attack. You know, you can just basically take a damage to, you know, go from reverse to like rest. So pretty good card to have, especially since you can build up soul and attack your opponent with it. Next is 4 of this level 1/0 Archer, red. It's a pretty good card because the only restriction I guess it has is it can't side attack. But the benefit of it is you don't pay anything for it, so you can just call it out for free. And it's basically a 6k beater. You put a climax and you're at 7. So you're like a potential like 7k beater thing, just attacking your opponent. And it's basically all you do, just beat down with it. And we're going to the next card. Next, 4 of the level 1/0 what is it? Saber's Master Shiro. And that's the card. Where is he? That's the card this thing bonds with. He basically searches himself, I guess. But yeah, that's what you can search for. Not bond search, my bad. It's just search by paying. But yeah, he basically searches himself. But what this card does is you can pay 1 when this card attacks if you have anger towards evil, which There are 4 of those in here, climaxes. So also 4 of these. This is one of those burn climax things. So whenever you trigger it, if your opponent cancels the damage they're being dealt, basically they get dealt 1 more damage. So that's pretty good, especially if your opponent cancels a lot, because they cancel and they burn for 1. And then sometimes like the burn 1 thing that they checked is also a climax. So then they technically cancel it because the burn that you deal with this can be canceled. But that's really good because you're basically throwing out your opponent's climaxes before this. And then when you play it, obviously you give your characters 1k one soul. So back to this guy. So as long as you have that climax on there, you can pay the cost, which is just pay 1. And if you do, during this turn, this card gains 2k power. So now you're seeing this card at 7 with the climax 8. So he's pretty big. And the following ability, which is when this card battles opponents becomes reversed, you can search your deck for 1 master or servant character, show it to your opponent, and add it to your hand. So basically it's like I get become huge, and then, or not huge, I just become like decent power wise. And if I kill your thing or reverse it, I get to search my deck for a card. So that's basically all he does, is just searches for cards that you need. Next, there's 2 of this 1/1 punch, Kind Soul Shiro. So what this card does is, just by paying it, it gives the 1,500 power backup. But it also has the ability where, when you use this card's backup, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a card with either the Master or Servant trait, you can put it into your hand, and then choose a card from your hand and put it into the waiting room. So basically you get to top check your deck, and if it's a Servant or a Master character, it profits you hardcore, because not only do you get to basically add it to your hand and discard a card, which is any card, but it also, basically that was potential damage you were going to take anyways. So it helps you out in that way too. So 2 of him. And now we're going on to the level 2s. Next level 2 is 3 of this level 2 pay 1. What is it? Battle with whatever the heck. Saber. Just sabers everywhere. So 3 of this yellow card. Its ability is when this card attacks, you can pay 1. And if a card named Armor Release, which we run 4 of. So it's the same deal like the other one. It's the burn thing. This deck runs 8 burns. So if your opponent cancels, they're gonna have a bad time because they have to take at least 1 poke damage. And if they cancel that poke damage, then they can get even more screwed because they're starting to run low on climaxes. So yeah, 4 of this, and obviously you play it and you give 1k one soul to your character. So back to this. So you can pay 1 when it attacks if you have that climax. You can pay the cost if you do. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. Choose up to 1 master or servant character among them. Show it to your opponent and put it into your hand. And you basically discard the rest. And this card gains 5k power until the end of the turn. So basically what the climax combo does is it allows you to mill cards from your deck so you can refresh or mill out extra damage you had in your deck. But not only that, it lets you +1 by potentially adding a master servant to your hand unless you get really unlucky and there's none of them among them. But that rarely happens. But not only that, but this saber becomes like humongous. That climax gives you a 1k power, so now you're at 19. That extra 5k basically puts you at like 14k power. So that's really good. Final level 2 is, oh no wait, whoops. Alright, we had 4 of her. It's because she got left behind. She was with the Rin. They were out partying and stuff. But you run 4 of these instead of whatever, 3, my bad. They got stuck. So remember guys, 4. And then just 2 of this. So this card is a level 2 pay 1 red. It's a Master of Mental Stare Rin. And basically her ability is assist. All your characters in front of this card gain X, and X is times their level times 500. So it's a level booster. So like, you know, if you have this, it's a level 2, so it gains 500 times its level, so it gains basically 1k. So as long as this is in the middle and these are on the side, this will gain a 2k because it's to the front. So now this saber is huge. So basically it's a level booster. Not only that, but it has the resonance ability, which is you pay 1 and reveal the card Proof of Contract Rin, which is right here. So basically you just pay 1 and reveal that card from your hand, and at the beginning of your climax step, you can pay the cost, and if you do, you choose one of your opponent's level 0 or lower characters and put it into their waiting room. So this just comes in handy when your opponent has random stuff in the back that's level 0, and like you can't get rid of it. So at least at level 2 you can just like show it and get rid of it. Or also if your opponent starts playing level 0s like just to attack empty spaces, you can just potentially be like, oh look, you have a level 0, I'm just gonna like show the Rin, blow up that level 0, and now maybe you don't have any card facing it, so whatever card you're gonna attack with now has more damage to deal because they're attacking an empty slot. So that's pretty good. This card's pretty good, but just 2 of her. Next, we have 2 of this level 3 pay 2 archer thing. Pretty good. Its ability is put a card from your hand into the waiting room. When this card is placed from your hand to the stage, you can pay the cost, and if you do, choose one of your opponent's level 2 or lower characters and put it into the waiting room. So this is OP because they can be anywhere. They can legitimately be anywhere, and you can just be like, alright, discard a card, this card comes into play. That level 2 right there, it's dead. It helps you out, especially if your opponent has like level 2s in the back for level 2 boosts and stuff like that. Just get rid of them basically. And it also has the ability, when this card attacks, choose one of your other master or servant characters, and that character gains 2k power until the end of the turn. So basically just give power to just whatever random character you want to give any attacks, as long as it has the servant or master trait. And the final card is 4 of this level 3 pay 2 a Knight of Oath Saber. Pretty good card. Her ability is when this card gains 500 power for each of your other master or servant characters. So if your field is full, since it doesn't count itself, it will gain a 2k power boost. So now we'll be at like 1150. So that's really good. Its other ability is you can only activate it once per turn, and it's during the turn that this card is placed from your hand to the stage. When damage is basically dealt by this card and it's cancelled, you put the top card of your deck into the waiting room and you deal X damage to your opponent, and X is equal to the card revealed times plus 1 soul. So like, you check if it's a 0, if it's a 3, what is it? Where is it? Is your opponent equal? So if it's a 3, it's a 3 plus 1 is 4, so you're like burn 4. If it's a 2, you're like burn 3, and if it's a 1, burn 2. So it's really good because basically it's times the level. If you get a climax, then it kind of sucks because now you're burning them just for 1. But you can potentially go up the ladder and burn them anywhere, or burn them anywhere from 1 to like 4 based on your luck. So it's basically a kind of endgame kind of thing where it's just like, if my opponent cancels, I'm just gonna punish burn them and stuff. So that's it for this deck profile. Like and comment and stuff, and I'll bring you more deck profiles later. And with that being said, see you guys in the next profile.